to another episode of Connecting the Pervs. I'm Diana, and I am the auditor. I became the auditor back in 2012 when I decided to take on the task of auditing the underbelly of America. In particular, America's legal sex industries. Yeah, I worked there for 2 years, and I know a lot of things that went on that's not being told to the public. They promote it in media, in entertainment, in music, and our youth thinks that working in the sex industries is glamorous. We'll make you famous. We'll make you rich. None of the above is going to happen. Instead, what happens is once you get in there, you can't get out. That's why we're here today. This is August episode of Connecting the Pervs. We'll be talking about all the things that happened in July that helps encourage and increase sex trafficking in America. It's being promoted everywhere, in every venue possible. The internet, entertainment, our movies, our television, our cable shows, our music. The pornography is becoming increasingly violent. Why? Because we've allowed a culture to grow that doesn't do anything to stop it. Starting out, we can talk about Bill Cosby. We now have upwards of 40 women who have come forward to accuse him of drugging them and raping them. I grew up in the 70s. I was a teenager. Quaaludes were the rape drug of the 70s. Yeah, they were slipped to me. I had a couple of times where I didn't know what happened the next day. So I can relate to these 40 plus women that have come forward accusing Bill Cosby of rape. He's got away with it for what, 30 years, 40 years, 45 years. So our culture has let this happen. Something we all have to deal with. We want to look at today and wonder why sexual assaults are epidemic. Well, we can look to our entertainment, we can look to our media, and we can look to our government, because they're all helping to increase it. There's many more predators in Hollywood. How long will it take before they're exposed and their victims feel safe enough to come forward? We know there's many. And speaking of violence against women, let's talk about FSU for a minute, Florida State University. I live in the wonderful state of Florida. I'm in Tampa Bay area. Florida State University is up in Tallahassee, right by our capital. And it's still suspect on what happened with him and his victim that is accusing him of rape, and she's taken it to a civil suit since she can't get any justice in our criminal system. I think somebody should investigate FSU, and I don't think they should be from Florida. We obviously have some problems when it comes to sports and men and violence. We need to take care of that. So going back to our entertainment, what's going on in the music industry? We have shootings, arrests, drugs, violence. The girls are being pimped out in music videos. I mean, if you watch any of them, it's a strip club scene. That's all it is. Every music video today it looks like a visit to the strip club. So what is going on? Looks more like gang activity instead of entertainment and creativity going on. I think there's a lot of people that are talented that aren't getting a chance because our music industry has been taken over by criminals. I mean, if you look at all the shootings at the concerts, between the different members of different bands, I guess you call them. I don't even know with rappers what you call them. But if you look at all the criminal activity that's going on around it, I'd be afraid to go to a concert. I mean, there's shootings regularly. The obscenity and the violence that's in their music, they encourage violence against police, they encourage pimping girls, they encourage taking drugs and selling drugs and ripping off society and just, wreaking havoc. It's not healthy, and it needs to change. So speaking of the music industry, I mean, let's look at some of what's going on here. We got Nicki Minaj. She's just played on ABC's Good Morning America Summer Concert Series. And my question is why do we have someone who's got XXX obscene lyrics and music videos on public TV in the morning where kids can see them? That's my question to you, ABC. Come on. I mean, there's a whole bunch of artists. Why do we keep promoting the ones who are so bad? It doesn't take a lot of talent to be obscene or naked. Anybody can be naked. So, there's no talent there. So, let's quit promoting these people who are promoting bad things. And Nicki Minaj, she's one of the worst. Miley Cyrus, probably worse. I don't know. It's hard to tell between those two. And then there's Kanye West. I mean, Australia, come on. I'd kick him out of your country and never let him come back. During the Pan Am sporting event, Kanye was supposed to do a concert. 13 minutes into it, they had a little technical difficulty. So what did he do? He threw his little brat fit, threw the microphone up in the air, walked off the stage, and never came back. I mean, why do we keep promoting these people? There's a lot of talented people out there who know how to be professional, who don't whine and cry when they don't win an award, and aren't racist and aren't pimps. So, let's clean up the music industry. Ruby Rose is another celebrity who found that hanging out with bad boy Floyd Mayweather, who has been charged with domestic violence and violence against women, lost her some fans. Yeah. A lot of people are bad people that you shouldn't be hanging around with. Bill Cosby's a perfect example. A lot of people hung around with him, and we see where that got us all. Yeah. So quit protecting the bad and start promoting the good. We don't want to see all this obscenity. Got to do something about it. Clean it up. In fact, studies show that obscenity and profanity increases aggression. It's a new study out. Check it out. There's a lot of research and information out there that these kind of behaviors, it just increases it. You want to know why violence is so rampant in our nation today? Just look at our entertainment and our media and our music. That'll tell you a lot. There's violence everywhere. You have violence in porn. We have violent porn. We're encouraging rape in our porn. Rape and torture of women. I mean, there is some more information has come out just recently about the sex clubs, the BDSM clubs on campuses. The concern about consent and coercion because girls are getting involved with professors and older guys. So, I mean, if you just look at the facts of this, you can understand that BDSM was developed by predators who like to beat girls, like to control them, like to dominate them, and like to make them feel less. It's plain and simple. Everything points to that. So, our campuses, we have girls who think that they're getting into some risque play, like they want to show it to be, when in reality, no. It's men tying them up, beating them, and raping them. And this is happening to daughters on college campuses all across our country. That is, when the girls aren't being sold out on sugar baby websites, which is still a problem, getting bigger, But speaking of that, we do have a little relief from the cheating website, Ashley Madison, which was hacked. It's owned by Noel Biderman, which is the same pimp that owns Arrangement Finders. These are escorting sites. Plain and simple, it's prostitution. It's a financial arrangement in exchange for sex. The girls say there's no sex, but so do prostitutes when asked when they're in a hotel room with a John what they're doing there. It's never about sex, right? Right. You know, this is something that's been going on over the last 8 years, been growing like crazy, the pimping of our daughters. Something needs to be done about it. We just had the report, the TIP report came out, 2015 TIP report. Actually talks about the cases in 2014. And what we've seen is there's a couple thousand investigations, a few hundred prosecutions, but there's 2 million trafficking victims in our country. So 2 million trafficking victims and a few hundred prosecutions. Doesn't balance out. And they give us a tier 1. Well, we give ourselves a tier 1. We are not a tier 1. We are a tier 2. And truthfully, with the way things have been going, because they're actively working to legalize prostitution and lower the age of consent. They want the age of consent down to 12. 16 for sex workers instead of 18. And right now, consent for sex technically is 16. They want it down to 12. So do you really want to start seeing our preteens turned out legally? Because that's what they want to happen. Amnesty International, Dennis Hoff, who is celebrity pimp, the porn industry, they want legalization of prostitution nationwide. They're trying to get that coming up in the 2016 ballot. So we need to keep an eye on that. You need to sign the petitions against it. If you see something saying let's decriminalize prostitution, that only works for decriminalizing the prostitute, the victims. We have to have stronger criminal offenses against pimps and the Johns who buy sex. They're the demand. We need the demand taken away to sell them. Don't let them decriminalize prostitution completely, because that will legalize the ability for them to go after your daughters. It's already hard enough to prosecute them. If we decriminalize pimping and being a John, then there's no hope. They'll take all our daughters. It's what they want. A lot of it's got to do with Satanism. If you saw in the news recently, the Satanic temple has a statue that they're taking around to major cities all over the country and unveiling it. It's got children staring up at this demonic idol of theirs. Little children idolizing the satanic idol. That's what they want. They want our children. There is Satanism involved in all of our entertainment. Symbology is huge. And I mean, a lot of it, they're just straight up with it. We've seen blasphemous TV comedies where they're just making fun of Jesus Christ, having him be a drunk and a drug addict and obscene. It's where our country's going if we don't do something to stop it. And entertainment, our media, it's the avenues that they're going through that reaches our youth. And we need to make sure our youth knows right from wrong and what's real and what's fantasy. Because what they're selling is fantasy. Except for, when you sell your soul to Satan, hell ain't no fantasy once you get there. And they will find that out. Now, ways that you can do things about it is be a faith-based consumer, or even a social consumer. I mean, if you're not religious, there's still things you can do. You still have your values, and you still, a lot of people out there want better societies. So use your consumerism. It's what drives the world today, materialism and buying things. We could all do better at supporting companies who are supporting a better world and getting rid of the companies that don't. A couple of campaigns going on right now. One is, does your hotel know? Learn your facts about sex trafficking and labor trafficking, because they both happen inside hotels. Learn the facts. When you book a room, ask the hotel management what they're doing, if they're looking, if they even know. Because sex trafficking victims, many of them live in hotels. They're meeting Johns and renting their bodies in hotels. There's pornography on the televisions in hotel rooms, which besides working to addict the average person, is also used to incite Johns to buy more prostitutes. And then there is labor trafficking that goes on also. If you're in a hotel and the staff doesn't speak English and they avoid you, something to ask questions about, observe, report. You can always call in a tip. They'll decide whether they can investigate, whether there's a reason to investigate, and they'll take it from there. And you don't ever have to worry about it again, but at least you know you did something. So report it. Observe. Learn the facts. Share them. It's very simple ways to make the world a better place. Another one is Cosmo. Cosmo harms minors. That's a campaign that's been going on for some time. We need some more support. When you're going into a store, whether it be a gas station, a drugstore, a grocery store, any kind of retailer that distributes magazines, if they have Cosmopolitan and other magazines that have R and X rated information and photos, headlines, ask to speak to the manager or get a phone number and call them later if you don't want to speak to them in public. Send an email to their corporate office, but let them know that you don't want your children and your grandchildren seeing those magazines. They don't need it. They're little kids. They used to have brown paper wrappers on them. They need to have them again. There's no reason for this. And why these rules changed when we have laws against this. We have lots of laws. AHF, AIDS Healthcare Foundation, wonderful organization who helps people with HIV. They help with HIV education, and they actually inadvertently, through their attorneys, helped me with a lawsuit as a sex trafficking survivor and having my privacy invaded and violated with release of my personal information. They're going on the ballot in 2016. They've taken the condom rules to the California ballot. They've got enough signatures. It's going to be there. But the problem is they've gotten laws passed already. There's sex trafficking laws that have been passed. There's sexual predator laws and pedophilia laws that have been passed in California, but nobody in California will enforce them. We have enough laws on our books to take care of every criminal activity in this country today, if we could just get enforcement. But we all know that's a problem. Definitely a problem under the Obama administration. And if Hillary wins, I see it getting even worse. I mean, if you want to talk about legalization of prostitution, we know Hillary's got the support of Dennis Hoff and his brothel workers, at least the ones that he can control. And they have the endorsement of the Los Angeles porn industry. Major players coming out saying the Clintons are the porn presidents. Just what we need, right? A porn president. But we know Bill Clinton has been seen with prostitutes from Dennis Hoff's brothel, porn stars, which they sideline as prostitutes, of the Los Angeles porn industry. And he's been good buddies with Marc from Penthouse, which, by the way, might have supplied Tasha and Brooklyn Lee in Monte Carlo in 2012. When it comes to Bill Clinton and Tasha, you have to ask yourself the question, is Bill a brony clopper? For those of you who don't know, recent stats came out from Pornhub saying that millennials are masturbating to My Little Pony porn. Now, this isn't cartoon My Little Ponies running around having sex. That's not what it's about. What it is Tasha is a porn star that they've pushed very heavily, and especially when she was photographed in Monte Carlo with Bill Clinton. She has a whole line of My Little Pony butt plugs that you can stick in your butt and have a horse's tail. She became My Little Pony, and they made a movie out of it. So you got to ask yourself, is that why Bill was with her? And being that Bill has been to Jeffrey Epstein's secret underage sex island, is that what they're doing with the little girls there? Is this something that pedophiles are using with children? We have to ask ourselves that. It's not pretty. And why is Bill Clinton involved with it all? Why is he attached to it all? So do we really want him and his wife in the White House? The president of the pimps and pornographers. Well, we're kind of already there with Obama, but we don't need another 4 or 8 years of it. And on the subject of pedophilia, let's take a look at Hustler, who was found recently in Australia, which is accessible by other countries too. But Collective Shout is an activist group in Australia who exposed Hustler for offering an entire line of pedophilia tools on Buy Invite. It's kind of an equivalent, I think, to Groupon or Living Social, anything like that. So basically, they're selling vaginas molded after little girls. Yep, you can buy a fake vagina of a little girl and have sex with it. This is where our country has gone to. This is what we specialize in. It's not good at all. They have their usual array of schoolgirl outfits and a whole bunch of other little things to feed the pedophilia's fantasy. Thanks, Hustler. They've gone from barely legal all the way down to preschool. We need to do something about that. It's happening today here in the United States. Do we really want Hillary in the White House? I mean, there's been all kinds of dirty laundry strewn all over our country about Hillary Clinton. The email scandals where she's keeping secret servers and sending emails from God knows where to God knows who, to her associations with pimps and pornographers, to her affiliation with terrorist countries, her and her husband Bill's foundation being investigated for violating the RICO Act, which is organized crime. Then she was just given an award by Planned Parenthood 2 weeks after they were exposed for illegally harvesting and trafficking organ parts, baby organ parts. They're wheeling and dealing, profiting big time, laughing about it, picking out the best. They've changed the procedures. That's illegal. Read the law. I've got it posted. Read the law. Many laws have been broken. And then Obama, through the White House, comes out and says, the videos are fake. Well, we all know they're not fake. I mean, there's 2.5 hours of footage on one of them. It's not fake. This is really happening, people, and it's a crime. And just because it's Planned Parenthood doesn't make it okay. These are evil feminists who have sold out their own gender for the past 45 years. They don't care about you. They don't care about nobody except for themselves and their bank accounts. I mean, the videos, it's obvious. And an investigation has to be brought immediately. And the fact that Obama's covering up is a crime. Our president's committing a crime by trying to cover up crime. I mean, come on, let's figure this out. It's easy. It's happening. We don't need more of it. I haven't chosen my candidate. There's too many to pick from and it's too crazy. But one thing's for sure. Our country can't survive another 4 years of this type administration. And that's Hillary Clinton is even worse than Obama. So we have to do something about it. And speaking about that, John Daly this week was exposed for both racism against his crew and for being used by the White House. They said, yeah, he was very useful. I don't know, proud or propped, whichever it is. But, John, you were used. So you got famous, you got lots of money, now you got nothing. Except for being a traitor. I hope it was worth it. So anyway, that's what went on in July 2015. I am the auditor. I'll be back again with another report next month. Hopefully we'll see a little bit better in August. Either way, I'll be here. God bless. Good night.